There comes a time in every person's life when the weight of the old self must be set down. The habits, the fears, the excuses, the need for approval, these chains have to be broken if you are to rise into the life you were meant to live. The Stoics taught us that we are not bound by who we were yesterday, we are only bound by who we choose to be today. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." To destroy the old you is not death, it is the first breath of a new life. In this video, we are going to explore what it truly means to tear down the weak foundations of the past and rebuild yourself into someone unshakable, someone guided by principle, not by impulse. This journey will not require the crowd, nor applause, nor recognition. It will require you alone, disciplined and determined. The old self will resist, but the fire of a stronger self already burns within you. The Stoic path is not about seeking comfort, it is about seeking strength. If you are ready to stand taller, to walk with clarity, and to live with purpose, then let us begin. Let's begin. Number 1. Face the mirror of truth. The first step in destroying the old you is not action, but awareness. You cannot rebuild what you have not examined. The Stoics believed that truth begins with self-examination. Marcus Aurelius, in his private writings, returned again and again to the discipline of looking inward and asking, "Am I living according to the principles I claim to value?" He held up a mirror to his own soul and forced himself to see reality, not the polished image that pride often presents. If you wish to begin your own transformation, you must do the same. Facing the mirror of truth is not about vanity, it is about clarity. Most people go through life blaming circumstances, pointing fingers, or hiding from their weaknesses. But the Stoic path calls you to brutal honesty. Ask yourself, what habits are holding me back? Where am I wasting time? What emotions control me more than I control them? These are uncomfortable questions, but growth does not come from comfort. Growth comes when you strip away illusions and confront who you really are. The old you thrives in the shadows of denial. It survives because you let excuses protect it. To destroy that weaker version of yourself, you must shine the light of awareness on it. Do not soften the truth with half answers. If you are lazy, admit it. If you are resentful, acknowledge it. If fear dictates your choices, say it plainly. Marcus reminded himself daily, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Extend this teaching inward. If it is not true, do not believe it about yourself. Once you see clearly, you gain the power to change. Think of a builder approaching a crumbling structure. He does not waste time pretending the cracks aren't there. He studies them, accepts them, and only then can he rebuild on solid ground. You are both the architect and the builder of your life. Without honest inspection, you will simply build new walls on old, broken foundations. Facing the mirror of truth also means recognizing your strengths. The Stoics did not believe in tearing oneself down endlessly. They believed in balance. Where have you been resilient? Where have you acted with courage, or discipline, or kindness? See these clearly too, for they are the materials from which the new you will rise. The truth is not meant to crush you, it is meant to free you. Do not fear the mirror. The reflection may not be flattering at first, but it is real, and only the real can be transformed. The old self cannot hide from this examination. Stand before the truth, accept what you see, and commit to rising above it. For once you have faced the mirror, you will no longer be bound by illusion. You will be ready to begin the true work of rebuilding. Number 2. Cut away the rot. Once you have faced the truth about who you are, the next step is to act with courage. Awareness without action is nothing more than observation, and observation alone will not transform your life. To rebuild, you must first tear down. You must cut away what is rotten, what is weak, and what is holding you back. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. This principle does not apply only to words and deeds, it applies to the entire structure of your life. Rot often hides in plain sight. It exists in the habits you repeat without thought, the conversations that leave you drained, the comforts that weaken your resolve, and the environments that keep you small. It whispers through the excuses you've believed for years, the grudges you hold, and the distractions you allow to consume your time. The Stoics taught that the soul becomes what it gives itself to. If you continually feed it with indulgence, gossip and envy, then that is what you will become. To rise as a stronger self, you must starve the rot and feed the roots of virtue instead. Cutting away the rot requires discipline. It is not enough to say, "I will do better tomorrow." Tomorrow becomes a refuge for procrastinators. The Stoics urged us to act now, because only the present is ours. If you know that idleness is weakening your body, then begin the discipline of movement today. If you know that resentment is poisoning your spirit, then let go of that bitterness now. To delay is to strengthen the very chains you are trying to break. Consider how a gardener tends to a tree. If disease spreads in the branches, he does not hesitate to prune. To keep what is rotten is to risk the entire tree. In the same way, you must be willing to cut deep into your life and remove what no longer serves your higher self. It may be painful. It may mean distancing yourself from certain people. It may mean abandoning habits that once gave you comfort. But the cost of holding on is greater than the pain of letting go. Marcus often reminded himself that life is short and that each day wasted on vice is a day stolen from virtue. To live wisely, you must decide what belongs and what must go. The old you thrived on indulgence, on distraction, on empty desires. The new you cannot. The new you requires clarity, discipline, and purpose. Cutting away the rot is not an act of cruelty toward yourself, it is an act of mercy. You are giving yourself the chance to grow unchained. Do not be afraid of the emptiness that follows removal. When you clear away what is rotten, you make space for what is strong and lasting. Solitude may feel uncomfortable at first. Simplicity may feel strange, but these conditions are fertile soil for a better life. Remember, what you refuse to cut away today will control you tomorrow. Do the hard work now, and your future self will thank you for the strength you showed. The old you clings to weakness, the new you demands virtue. Cut away the rot, and you will begin to stand free, ready to build a life that is unshakable. Number 3. Embrace voluntary hardship. If you wish to rebuild yourself into someone stronger, you must willingly walk into the fire of discomfort. The Stoics understood that the path to virtue does not run through ease but through trial. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Hardship then is not your enemy, it is your teacher. And when you choose to embrace it voluntarily, you remove its power to break you. Most people live their lives avoiding pain, chasing comfort, and running from difficulty. They do not realize that in shielding themselves from hardship, they also shield themselves from growth. Just as muscles grow by resistance, so too does the soul strengthen through adversity. If you always take the easier path, you remain fragile. But if you deliberately choose the harder path, your character is tempered like steel in fire. Voluntary hardship can take many forms. It may mean rising earlier than you wish, pushing your body to endure more than it thinks it can, or denying yourself luxuries that weaken your discipline. It may mean stepping into silence when the world craves noise, or taking on responsibilities that others avoid. These small acts of chosen difficulty prepare you for the greater storms of life. For when fate places true hardship before you, you will not collapse. You will endure. The Stoics often practiced this deliberately. Seneca, though wealthy, would sometimes sleep on the floor and eat the simplest of meals, asking himself, "Is this what I feared? Marcus Aurelius himself lived as emperor, yet reminded himself constantly to resist indulgence, to remain simple, to keep his soul sharp rather than dulled by excess. The lesson is clear: if you wish to destroy the old, weaker version of yourself, you must deny it the comfort it craves. You must train it in the school of hardship until it bends or breaks. Do not misunderstand. Stoicism does not glorify suffering for its own sake. It glorifies strength, resilience, and mastery of the self. Hardship is not the goal, it is the forge. The goal is to emerge from that forge unshaken, able to live with clarity and courage, no matter what life delivers. By choosing hardship voluntarily, you turn adversity into an ally. You stop fearing the difficulties that come uninvited, because you have already practiced enduring them by choice. When you train your mind and body to withstand discomfort, the world loses its power over you. Hunger does not frighten you, because you have chosen to fast. Fatigue does not overwhelm you, because you have pushed through it before. Loss does not destroy you, because you have already loosened your grip on unnecessary attachments. This is freedom, the kind the old you could never possess. So begin today. Seek out the small trials that strengthen your will. Embrace discomfort as a teacher, for each voluntary hardship cuts away weakness, hardens resolve, and builds the foundation of a self that no storm can destroy. The old you avoids pain, the new you endures it, and through endurance becomes unbreakable. Number 4. Master the fire within. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not against the world, but within yourself. Anger, fear, envy, pride, these are the flames that can consume your mind if you do not master them. The Stoics warned that a person who cannot rule their inner world is a slave, no matter how free they may appear on the outside. Marcus Aurelius gave us the reminder: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. To rebuild yourself into someone unshakable, you must learn to control the fire within. Think of your emotions as a blaze. Left untended, it can spread wildly, burning everything in its path. Anger can turn you reckless. Fear can paralyze you. Envy can make you bitter. Pride can blind you. But when controlled, fire becomes a source of light and warmth. In the same way, emotions, when mastered, can guide you, strengthen you, and give energy to your purpose. The difference lies in control, whether you command the flame or whether the flame commands you. Many believe that controlling emotions means suppressing them, pretending they do not exist. The Stoics never taught suppression, they taught understanding. When anger rises, do not deny it. Observe it. Ask, why has this struck me so deeply? When fear enters, do not run. Examine it. Ask, what am I truly afraid of losing? And is it within my control? This kind of inquiry transforms raw emotion into wisdom. To master the fire within, you must also practice the art of pause. Most destruction in life comes from acting too quickly, under the influence of emotion. A single word spoken in anger can sever a friendship. A single decision made in fear can alter the course of your future. But if you pause, even for a breath, you create space between the spark and the flame. In that space, reason can enter, and reason is the shield of the Stoic. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that other people's actions are beyond his control, but his response to them always belongs to him. This is where true freedom lies, not in changing the world to suit your moods, but in mastering your moods, so the world cannot disturb your peace. The old you reacted impulsively, lashing out, withdrawing, or surrendering to jealousy. The new you must respond with clarity, with calm, with strength. It is not easy. To master yourself is the hardest task you will ever undertake, but with practice, it becomes possible. Begin with small tests. The next time anger stirs, remain silent until it cools. The next time fear rises, take one step forward anyway. The next time envy whispers, Remind yourself that what others possess does not diminish your worth. Each victory, no matter how small, weakens the hold of the old self and strengthens the discipline of the new. The world will always present fires, injustice, loss, insult, temptation. They will come. But if you have mastered the fire within, these cannot consume you. You will remain steady, unburned, a source of light rather than destruction. Remember, you are not here to be ruled by emotion. You are here to rule yourself. That is the true power of the Stoic path. Number 5. Walk alone, walk strong. There will come a point in your rebuilding when you must accept the path of solitude, not because you despise others, but because transformation requires a strength that cannot depend on constant approval or support. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." To walk alone is to become that rock, steady, firm, and unshaken by the noise of the world. Most people crave company at all times. They fear solitude because it confronts them with their own thoughts. But the Stoics embraced solitude as a chance to strengthen the mind. When you are alone, there is no mask to wear, no applause to chase, no opinions to please. There is only you and the truth of who you are. And if you can stand firm in that silence, then no crowd can sway you, and no rejection can break you. Walking alone also means having the courage to be misunderstood. When you begin to destroy the old you, people may question you. They may laugh at your discipline, resent your growth, or doubt your resolve. But the Stoics remind us that the opinions of others are beyond our control. If your direction is guided by virtue and reason, then let the world think what it will. Their approval is not the foundation you build upon. Your character is. There is also strength in refusing to compromise your principles for acceptance. Many lose themselves trying to fit into circles that weaken them. They trade discipline for comfort, honesty for flattery, purpose for belonging. But to rebuild yourself, you must be willing to walk a road where others may not follow. As Marcus wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." These words are simple, but when lived fully, they demand courage, and often solitude. This does not mean you must reject friendship or community altogether. The Stoics valued meaningful relationships, but they did not cling to them. They knew that a person who cannot stand alone will eventually lean too heavily on others. To walk strong, you must first prove to yourself that your strength is self-contained. Friendship is sweeter when it is not born from need, but from choice. Walking alone is not weakness, it is independence. It is the refusal to be a slave to opinion, comfort, or the presence of others. It is the training of your soul to remain upright, even when no one is there to keep you upright. The old you may have sought safety in the crowd, but the new you finds strength in solitude. So embrace the silence. Walk paths where the only voice you hear is your own conscience. Stand firm when others waver. For in learning to walk alone, you will discover that you are never truly alone. You walk with your reason, with your principles, and with the timeless wisdom of those who came before you. That is how you walk strong. Number 6. Discipline is your new foundation. Once the old you has been stripped away, what remains must be rebuilt on something unshakable. That something is discipline. Without discipline, every effort collapses under the weight of impulse, distraction, and weakness. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Discipline is the bridge between knowing and becoming, between intention and reality. It is not optional. It is the foundation of the new you. The old self is built on convenience. It acts when it feels like it, rests when it should rise, and speaks when silence would have been wiser. It waits for motivation, which comes and goes like the wind. The Stoics knew this was a dangerous way to live. They understood that to live rightly you cannot depend on moods or fleeting emotions. You must depend on the steady hand of discipline, which does not waver with circumstance. Discipline is not about punishing yourself. It is about training yourself. It is choosing order over chaos, purpose over distraction, virtue over indulgence. It is the ability to do what must be done even when every part of you resists. Marcus lived this truth daily, ruling an empire while writing reminders to himself, not to be lazy, not to surrender to comfort, not to waste the dawn. If an emperor needed discipline to stay upright, how much more do we think of discipline as the foundation stones of a new structure? Each stone is an act of self-mastery, rising at the time you set, finishing the task you promised, speaking words that align with your values. On their own, these acts may seem small, but together they form a base strong enough to hold the weight of your entire life. Without them, your rebuilding will crumble the moment difficulty arrives. The Stoics also tied discipline to freedom. A man ruled by appetite is not free. A woman controlled by fear is not free. But the one who governs himself, who can command his mind and body, is untouchable. Discipline gives you sovereignty over your life. It ensures that no external event, no temptation, no weakness can drag you where you do not choose to go. This is why Epictetus declared that no man is free who is not master of himself. Discipline must begin in the small things. Do not wait for some grand test of character. Start where you are. Decide what time you will rise tomorrow. And rise, set a task, and complete it without excuse. Speak truth when silence would have been easier. These small victories accumulate, and over time they forge a will that can endure anything. The old you depended on impulse and excuse. The new you must depend on discipline. It will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. For once discipline is your foundation, nothing can shake you. You will stand firm, unmoved by laziness, unmoved by fear, unmoved by temptation, and from this firm ground, you will rise higher than you ever thought possible. Number 7. Build an inner fortress. Life will always test you. People will insult you. Circumstances will challenge you, and fate will place obstacles in your path. You cannot control these things, but you can control how you respond. The Stoics taught that the greatest defense is not found in walls of stone, but in a mind fortified by wisdom and principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The mind that is free from passions is an impenetrable fortress. If you wish to rebuild yourself into someone unshakable, you must construct this inner fortress, one that no insult, no temptation, and no misfortune can breach." What is this fortress made of? Its stones are virtues, courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. Each time you act with discipline instead of indulgence, you lay a stone. Each time you respond with calm instead of anger, you strengthen the wall. Each time you choose principle over convenience, you raise the height of your defense. Over time, this fortress becomes unbreakable, not because life stops sending storms, but because you no longer collapse when the storm arrives. The old you was exposed. Every word of criticism pierced your peace. Every delay or failure left you shaken. Every desire tempted you to surrender your focus. That version of you had no fortress. It was like a house of straw, collapsing at the first strong wind. But the new you must be different. The new you must not be shaken by noise, nor swayed by praise, nor crushed by loss. You must learn to stand as your own stronghold. Building an inner fortress begins with self-command. Marcus reminded himself daily that he could not control the actions of others, only his own judgments. This is the heart of Stoicism. External things may wound the body, but they cannot wound the soul unless you give them permission. Insults mean nothing unless you choose to accept them. Misfortune means little if you respond with resilience. Desire cannot enslave you if you refuse to bow to it. Your judgments, and your judgments alone, decide whether you stand strong or crumble. But a fortress is not built in a day. you strengthen it with practice. Each day offers opportunities: the difficult co-worker who tests your patience, the delay that challenges your calm, the temptation that demands your discipline. These are not annoyances, they are bricks for your fortress. To resent them is to throw away building material. To use them is to grow stronger. As Marcus said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The world will never run out of challenges, but that should not concern you. Once your fortress is strong, challenges become opportunities to test its walls, and with every test endured, your peace grows deeper, your strength firmer, your resolve clearer. The old you allowed every storm to tear you apart. The new you understands that storms are inevitable, but collapse is optional. Build your fortress within, and no force from outside can ever bring you down. That is the Stoic way to lasting strength. Number 8. Choose principles over pleasures. The old you lived chasing comfort, pleasure, and fleeting satisfaction. But pleasures are deceivers. They promise fulfillment, yet leave emptiness. The Stoics warned often against being ruled by appetite or indulgence, for they understood that the person who serves pleasure is never free. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." True happiness, then, does not come from what you consume or acquire, but from the principles you live by. To rebuild yourself, you must choose principles over pleasures. Pleasure is temporary. It disappears as quickly as it arrives, and often leaves you weaker. The more you indulge it, the more it demands, until you are no longer choosing, it is choosing for you. Discipline fades, focus is lost, and the mind becomes restless. Principles, on the other hand, do not fade. They provide a steady compass, no matter the circumstance. When you live by principle, your actions align with who you want to be, not what you feel in the moment. This does not mean that pleasure is evil. The Stoics did not demand a life stripped of joy. They only warned against being enslaved by it. Eating a good meal, enjoying comfort, or celebrating success can be good, but only when chosen with moderation, not obsession. The danger begins when pleasure becomes the master instead of the servant. To build a stronger self, you must ensure that principle holds the throne of your life. Think of a man who builds his house on shifting sand. Every wave reshapes it, every tide tears at its base, until nothing stands. This is the life built on pleasure. It rises and falls with circumstance. Now think of the house built on solid stone. The storms come, but it remains standing. This is the life built on principle, integrity, discipline, honesty, and courage. These do not sway with moods or seasons. They anchor you. Marcus often reminded himself that luxury does not create peace, but simplicity does. He understood that life's essentials are small: bread, water, a bed, a purpose. The rest is excess, and the more excess you crave, the more restless you become. Rebuilding yourself means learning to value what is essential and discarding what is unnecessary. When you choose principles, you realize you already have enough. When you chase pleasures, you never have enough. Ask yourself, what guides my choices each day? Is it the pursuit of ease or the pursuit of virtue? Do I act to satisfy my impulses or to honor my values? Each answer lays another stone in either the old foundation or the new. If you choose pleasures, you reinforce the weakness you are trying to destroy. If you choose principles, you strengthen the character you are trying to build. The old you was a servant to appetite. The new you must be a servant to principle. Do not live for what fades, live for what lasts. For only principles can carry you through hardship, through loss, and through temptation. Pleasures fade quickly, but principles build a life that endures. This is the Stoic way, and it is the path to freedom. Number 9. Live as if time is short. One of the greatest illusions of the old self is the belief that there will always be more time to change, more time to begin, more time to live as you should. But this illusion keeps you trapped in delay, postponing the life you are meant to live. The Stoics shattered this illusion with the practice of memento mori, to remember death. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." To rebuild yourself, you must live with urgency, as if time is short, because it is. Think of how many days you have wasted on trivial matters, on petty arguments, on empty distractions. The old you believed there was always tomorrow, but tomorrow is not promised. Life is slipping away even now, moment by moment, breath by breath. The Stoics were not morbid when they spoke of death. They were realists. They understood that the awareness of death is not meant to frighten you but to awaken you. When you live with this awareness, you no longer squander time, you cherish it. Living as if time is short means refusing to delay what matters. If virtue calls, answer it now. If discipline is needed, begin it today. If forgiveness must be given, do not wait another year. The old self procrastinates, always promising to act someday. The new self acts now, because it understands that someday may never come. This perspective also brings clarity. When you remember that your time is limited, you begin to see how unimportant most worries truly are. The insults of others, the opinions of the crowd, the pursuit of wealth or status, all fade in significance when weighed against the brevity of life. What remains important is how you live, with honor, with integrity, with courage. The Stoics measured a life not by its length, but by its depth, by the character you display each day. To live as if time is short is also to live deliberately. It is to rise each morning asking, if this were my last day, how would I spend it? Such a question cuts through laziness and distraction. It pushes you to spend your hours on what truly matters, building your mind, strengthening your character, serving others, and walking the path of virtue. Marcus himself began his mornings with this reflection, reminding himself not to waste the dawn in idleness. You must also recognize that time wasted cannot be returned, money lost can be earned again, possessions broken can be replaced, but wasted time is gone forever. To guard your time is to guard your life. Every moment you spend is an exchange, you trade it for something. The question is, are you trading it for what matters, or for what fades? The old you treated time carelessly, as if it were infinite. The new you must treat time as sacred. Live with urgency, live with clarity, live as if time is short, because nothing is more certain. And when your final day does come, you will not fear it, for you will know you have lived fully, wisely, and well. Number 10. Rise daily as the new you. Rebuilding yourself is not a single act of will, it is a daily practice. The old self is not destroyed in one moment. It tries to return again and again, whispering excuses, tempting you back into weakness. The Stoics knew that transformation is not a destination but a discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Each new day is not just another sunrise. It is a new chance to rise as a different person. The danger lies in complacency. Many people have moments of clarity, short bursts of strength, only to slip back into the same patterns once the feeling fades. They think change is a one-time decision, when in truth, it is a series of decisions renewed every morning. To rise daily as the new you means to recommit, over and over, until the habits of virtue replace the habits of vice. Consider the discipline of a craftsman. He does not master his art in one attempt. He returns to his work each day, chiseling, shaping, refining. In the same way, you must treat your life as a craft. Each day, shape your mind through reflection, your character through action, your soul through discipline. Some days you will stumble, but the craftsman does not quit because one stroke was wrong. He continues until the work is worthy. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of morning preparation. Marcus wrote often about rising early, resisting the pull of comfort, and facing the duties of the day with strength. He did not excuse himself with luxury or laziness, though he could have as emperor. He held himself to the same discipline he expected of others. If he could rise daily with purpose, then so can you. Rising daily as the new you also means refusing to carry the failures of yesterday into today. The old you will remind you of your mistakes, trying to pull you back into regret or despair. But the Stoic way is to learn, then let go. You cannot change what is past. You can only act now. Each sunrise wipes the slate clean. What matters is not what you did yesterday, but what you choose to do today. This practice requires humility, because you will never be finished. The new you is not a final form but an ongoing creation. Every day is a chance to rise stronger, calmer, more disciplined, more principled. To think otherwise is to fall into arrogance, believing you have already arrived. Marcus himself, the most powerful man of his time, never allowed himself to believe he was beyond improvement. So rise daily. Rise with gratitude for the gift of life. Rise with discipline, with clarity, with purpose. Rise as the person you are committed to becoming. For the old you cannot withstand a life lived this way. It will fade, day by day, replaced by the stronger, wiser, freer self you are building. And in time, each sunrise will not just be the start of another day. It will be the proof that you have truly been reborn. The journey of destroying the old you and rebuilding yourself alone is not for the faint of heart. It demands honesty, discipline, and the courage to walk a path where few will follow. The old you was built on excuses, on weakness, on comfort and fear. But that self no longer serves you. To cling to it is to remain chained. To let it go is to step into freedom. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it. The Stoics understood that transformation is not only possible, it is necessary. You began this journey by facing the truth, holding the mirror up to your soul, and admitting what must change. You cut away what was rotten, embraced hardship, and mastered your inner fire. You learned to walk alone, to make discipline your foundation, to build a fortress within. You chose principles over pleasures, learned to live as if time is short, and committed to rising daily as someone new. These steps are not just ideas to admire, they are practices to live. Understand this, you will stumble, you will fall back into old habits at times. But the Stoic way is not perfection, it is persistence. Each day, each moment, you are given the choice to rise again. And if you continue, if you hold firm to virtue, you will discover a strength greater than the one you imagined. The old you will fade into memory, and the new you will stand unshakable, a living example of what self-mastery can create. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Begin now. Destroy what no longer belongs to you, and rise, stronger, freer, wiser. The work is yours alone, but the reward is a life of clarity, peace, and power. As Marcus wrote, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. So begin, and live, not as the old you, but as the person you were always meant to become.